opinion, and the majority opinion in the case of People versus Dimacuta, and also in the cases of People versus Tulagan, where I borrowed the words of Justice Tiham in the case of People versus Boy Tagalog, because there is a problem on the penalty. I wrote there that the only solution to this is through amendment in the law. That's how I respect the power of the Supreme Court, of the Congress in enacting laws, Your Honor.
How about the case of Umali versus JBC, July 25, 2017?
Yeah, that
also
was,
in relation to the judicial legislation.
that was, I cannot remember now, I think the ponente was Justice Mendoza, I think so. Is that does that refer the membership of the, whether it is one for Congress and then one for the Senate? That was not actually a legislation, Your Honor. It was an interpretation of the Constitution. Because we had a problem, we were confronted with a problem. Because why is it that in the Constitution, nakalagay doon kasi, I remember now, yeah, whether or not dalawa ang members, one should come from Congress and then one should come from the Senate. Very clear sa Constitution verbal ehis one lang But the practice kasi, when the law became, when the JBC was constituted after the ratification of the 1987 Constitution, ang practice kasi dalawa agad Kasi sabi nila, why is it in the executive? Meron isa. Di ba? Yung legislative, dalawa May lower, may upper. Bakit? Isa lang. Dapat dalawa yan. But, you know, as early as the case filed by the late Solicitor General Frank Chavez, rinasolve na namin yan nun Because Senator Chis Escudero was already saying that dapat dalawang member nun So that's not a judicial legislation, it's just an interpretation of the Constitution. Ang sabi kasi nila, well, anyway, to shorten the answer, yun na lang po.
Arata, describe a situation where you and a colleague whom you relied upon for support were in conflict.
You mean to say, is a friend, you have been together, and then you have been supporting, and so on, Your Honor? That's not true, Your Honor.
And how did you address
I have a
the
friend,
situation?
very close friend, but we have also different positions in several cases. You have to be objective, Your Honor. Whether he's your friend or not, if you believe that you cannot join in, then so be it. Friendship ends when it comes to work, Your Honor. Ganon po tayo. They know sila Justice Bambit in that case of Bank of Commerce. He dissented in my position.
How do you convince someone to do something they do not want to do?
If that is the case, Your Honor, I will not convince him anymore. I do not want to quarrel with my friend. If he says, I'm sorry, Justice Dado, I cannot support your position, then I will just say, I will respect. Hindi ko na itutuloy yun, mag-aaway lang po kami I don't want to be quarreling. Sabi ko nga, Your Honor, sa tingin ko, ako ang friendliest I am the only one probably, and many will attest, Your Honor, that during a heated argument, ako ang sumisingit to lighten the debates Ako lang nakakapaggawa niyan because I want everybody to be friends Pagkatapos na, dapat everybody is a friend
Alright, only last question. That I went around asking people in the Supreme Court what will be their observation if and when you're being appointed as a Chief Justice. There is really there's not at least questioning your integrity, competency, and independence. They'll only remark that you are from the locus. You may be stingy or tightwad, giving benefits to the employees of the Supreme Court.
You know, Your Honor, what I told in the NBank last session, just Tuesday, we have to be prudent in utilizing our funds, and we should not take advantage of our fiscal autonomy. We will follow the law. I told them that the savings cannot be used for purposes other than personal services. If those amounts are intended for personal services and the employees deserve, give to them. They deserve. Iba yung kuripot po eh. Yung kuripot talaga, even if you have money, you do not want to spend. Hindi po ako ganun eh. Frugal po ako. I already learned a lot from my wife po kasi she's from Bulacan eh. Before probably, but not now, Your Honor. Naging prudent na lang.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you po, Your Honor. Thank you also for giving me the chance, Your Honor.
Good luck again.
Thank you po. Thank you. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Judge Ilawa. Good morning, Justice. The questions I intended to ask were already covered by those questions of my colleagues. But I will just ask a few questions. This is most talked about by those in the judiciary, especially the justice and judges, trial court judges. This is with respect to the case of People versus Romilim. Yes, there has been criticisms that your decision in that case changed the perception of Section 21 as a provision on credibility or integrity of the evidence, but dismissibility. Can you clarify
Okay, Your
us on that?
I think you are still in the court, Your Honor. There was a problem raised by the First Division at that time as to the applicability of Section 1, because that Section 1, 9165, provides that in the conduct of drug operation, a member of the media or barangay and a representative from the DOJ shall attend or shall be present during. But that three requirements, the three persons requirement was amended later on. Ginawa na lang ng dalawa. So barangay chairman and media or representative, dalawa na lang. And then the law provides further that if they cannot comply with the presence of the two, then they will have to justify the absence. And they will have to follow the requirement in order to preserve the integrity of the specimen, which the specimens must be marked in the nearest police station, it must be photographed, and there must be inventory. Yun po ang requirement. And nandun kami sa Supreme Court po, parang conviction lahat yan, kinoconvict namin. And then there was an issue raised in the First Division, which was brought to the en banc. I think you remember that through the working chairperson then was former Chief Justice Teresa de Castro. Because there were now different opinions eh. Ang sabi nila, what if that is not followed and that is a substantive requirement? Eh di you will acquit, sabi naman. Three of us, Your Honor, gave different opinion. My opinion is that, which was shared by Chief Justice Bersamin, we told them that there is a constitutional infirmity on Section 21 because it refers to a chain of custody, which will eventually raise the issue of admissibility. Kaya ang sabi ko, yan issue na yan, may constitutional infirmity yan eh, because it encroaches on the power of the court on rulemaking. Kaya na natalo kami. Ang sabi natin na lang, we agree, okay, this is what we're going to do. We'll not come up with a communist in the meantime because it will depend on the circumstances. So ibabalik yan. Okay. Nung bumalik na yon, acquit na acquit. You know why there were so many acquittals? Because during the trial, yung poor public prosecutor na probably not aware of the importance of that procedure, hindi nila tinatanong sa police. Why there were no barangay? Bakit walang ganito? Hindi tinatanong eh. In other words, they do not justify the absence, which is sexual. So, ano ngayon? Acquit ng acquit. So that case of mine, nadala ko dito. I wanted to protect and then save the cases of the prosecution. Dinala ko yan sa en banc. Ang sabi ko sa en banc, from here on, para hindi na magkamali ang mga police officers na yan, i-indicate na sa affidavit of arrest yung